I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids. What up, guys? It's your boy, M3 Bullet. Welcome and welcome back. I've always wanted to do a review on this Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost. It's a crap, I cannot talk today. Anywho, it's a direct-to-video Scooby Doo movie that came out in 1999. For any Scooby Doo fan that's watching, this video is for you. Like, share, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, check out my DeviantArt page in case you don't know what that is. It's pretty much an online art gallery where you see me putting all my artwork on there. So if you want to see my work, go there. The movie pretty much starts out with your basic normal Scooby Doo. Scooby and the gang were kind of investigating some Babylonian mummy case, and it was at a National History Museum. There was I don't know, some dude was the professor, the dude who was in charge of the place. He was locking up the place, and he heard a little crack, a little noise, a little bit, and he accidentally bumped into an exhibit that Scooby and Shaggy were disguising themselves as a caveman and saber-toothed tiger attacking each other, and those Babylonian mummies started come after the guy in charge, and Scooby and Shaggy kind of warn him, hey, those guys are right behind you, and they try to kill the professor thing. Shaggy and Scoob try fight him a little bit, and Scooby and Shaggy kind of release the trap, but that trap kind of failed, and we got a little, your old school Scooby Doo chase scene, after I guess the Babylonian mummies kind of escape. We got that iconic theme song chase scene. A mysterious person sort of tripped one of the Babylonian mummies, and they kind of fell into a Babylonian trap. Fred, Velma, and I guess the professor kind of got the security people, and Fred told Shaggy, hey, thanks guys, you caught him. But Shaggy mentioned that he got a little help, and it was revealed that the person that kind of tripped the Babylonian mummy was actually Ben Ravencroft, a horror novelist writer, I guess, that Velma kind of was simping for, as a huge fan of, and Ravencroft kind of hey, thanks for liking my work and everything, but let's see who these Babylonian mummies are. And it turns out those two were actually one of the workers from one of the archaeologists from the museum. They were mad that there were the funding, and not only that, we got a little bit of that, I would have gotten away with two if it hadn't been for you meddling kids, but it wasn't aimed at them. He kind of said, we would have gotten away with two if it hadn't been for this meddling writer. And that was a little shock, because that normally happens to them, though. Okay, you're probably wondering, what is Ben Ravencroft doing in that museum with Shaggy and Scooby and everything else? He was trying to do a little research about those Babylon things, and when he noticed when the archaeologists were acting suspicious, he kind of investigated a little bit, and that's pretty much how we got here. And knowing that they were chatting up a little bit, and Brandon Ravencroft kind of asked Velma and the whole Scooby gang if they wanted to go visit Oakhaven, his hometown. He goes there every year to recharge his batteries, to find some new inspiration to write a new book. But and the Scooby gang is you know what? We kind of need a little break from the monsters, the ghouls. So they kind of went with it. So they kind of what was it? They did a little road trip to Massachusetts, because that's where Oakhaven is. And by the time they got there, there was a lot of traffic in Ben's hometown. Ben mentioned the fact that Oakhaven's a quiet little town, but this was unnormal from him, because it's been a long time, I guess, since he last went. Ben sees the mayor, and Scooby and the gang kind of went up to the mayor. Ben kind of asked the mayor what's going on, and the mayor told them that business is booming, everything's going good. Then we're introduced to Mr. McKnight. He's the pharmacist. He was handing out t-shirts for the local Autumn Fest, and what was it? He said that there was a ghost, and not only that, it was a ghost of Ben's ancestor a little bit, and Ben was like a little a little weirded out, and Fred kind of like pointed out, "Don't tell me you disturb her spirit by building the Puritan village and everything else." And Daphne pointed out that now she's on the town, and he's like, "How do you know? Ghost hunting or ghost hunting is their specialty, obviously, because hello, it's Scooby Doo." They went to the Puritan villages. They were enjoying like everything that's happening, and the mayor kind of explained like everything that you see here was just a reenactment of what life looked like back in the 1600s during the Salem witch trials. Scooby was acting a goof. He was messing with some gopher, and what was it? He was trying to like get that gopher, but he kind of like found like an old shoe buckle and kind of gave it to Shaggy, and knowing that the mayor kind of like was giving like more details about Ben's ancestor, and most of that was a little false because Ben's ancestor was accused of being a witch and everything, and Ben wanted to like trying to like set things straight that she was a healer and she was only persecuted because she was doing things like differently from what was culturally the norm and everything else. And knowing that Ben tried to like ask the mayor, like they've been like finding like some old, the townspeople have been like finding some old relics from from the 1600s during that time. And like Ben was like thinking, "Hey, have you found a book?" And the book, Ben sort of mentioned the fact that Sarah Ravencroft kind of like had like a little journal where and he's trying to prove that this whole thing, like her being a witch and everything, that was just a misunderstanding and everything else. But the mayor didn't know, and not only that, after that whole little thing, Shag and Scoob's stomach were like growling like crazy, and the mayor kind of like told them that, "Hey, there's this restaurant, I can take you there." And Velma, everybody else went with Ben to like go to his studio to check things out, and Shag and Scoob kind of like went to the restaurant, but Ben sort of made a horrible mistake by whatever they order, it's on him. Oh, he made a really, really terrible mistake. The mayor brought him to the restaurant, and they were introduced to Jack. He kind of owns the place, and since Jack kind of like told them, "Hey, order whatever you want since you're Ben Ravenscroft's guest," and they were like looking through the menu, see what they like and everything. We cut to Ben Ravenscroft's house in Massachusetts, where to a studio where like Velma where they kind of like asked like a bunch of questions and stuff, and Fred was looking at a painting, and she was wondering whose portrait is that, and that was his ancestor, Sarah Ravencroft. She wasn't popular with the town's doctors, but she was a Wiccan, I guess. I don't know I forgot what it was again, but pretty much she was like a Wiccan. She was pretty much not popular with town doctors because she believed in using herbs and natural remedies and everything else. And only that, she kept a little journal, and she treated her patients under an oak tree that he believed found some sort of healing powers, I guess. And Velma noticed that there was a tree like that in the town square, and Ben searched everywhere around that tree but couldn't find nothing. And he was like saying, this book could possibly clear her name and everything else, and that she was a Wiccan, not an evil witch. And Ben kind of like told like the gang that, hey, this was like the Sarah and the Wiccans and everything else was pretty much his inspiration for him writing his books. Then we cut into a scene where Scooby and Shaggy were like scaring like most of the people in the restaurant by eating like so much food. Jack kind of like bring more food, and he was like so shocked that he never seen Scooby and Shaggy or anyone like eat food like they do. And like things kind of like Scooby kind of like was making some dude throw up. The gang kind of showed up. Well, the rest of the gang kind of showed up and like say, "Hey guys, meet us at the town square because we want to see if that ghost's gonna make their appearance." But they're like, "Nah, well, we'll go, but we need to we'll catch up with y'all in a minute." We're at the town square where all the other town people are at. It's dark outside, and everyone's like searching around to see like where Sarah Ravencroft's ghost might be at. Like the townspeople sort of left because they noticed that it's been an hour and the ghost ain't showing up. And Ben was like, too bad. He wanted to have like a chat with her and figure out like where that journal is. And Daphne and Fred kind of like noticed that that Ben is a little obsessed with that journal, and then we cut back to like with and Scooby and Shaggy kind of like leaving the restaurant, and they left a pile of dishes for Jack to pretty much clean up. They're walking around town. It was like completely empty, and they were starting to get like a little spook. But Scooby noticed that there were some girls watching, and like there were some girls walking around, and like Scooby and Shaggy try to fix themselves. They were trying to holler at them, but the girls kind of scared them a little bit. They kind of went scared and kind of ran, and they ran so fast that they managed to like burn all that fat out. And then the real ghost actually showed up. The ghost was flying through the air, shooting fireballs at them. Then they kind of like ran into the rest of the gang, and they were like so scared and everything else. The rest of the gang sort of investigated everything that everything that happened, like with Shaggy and Scooby being chased down, and what was it? Fred and Daphne noticed that like some of the tree branches were like being like knocked down in a perfectly straight line, and they noticed a little glow like somewhere in the distance, and they kind of like went to see that glow, and it was the same girls that Shaggy and Scooby was trying to holler at. Those were the Hex girls. After they were done with their little musical number, we got introduced to them. Thorn, Dusk, and Luna. Fred and Velma was like a little suspicious about the Hex girl, and Fred sort of like came up with a plan, split up and search for clues and stuff. Fred went with Daphne, and Ben, Velma, and Shaggy and Scooby were like trying to like go back to that place where they were attacked by that witch. Then they like noticed that there were tires leading to some sort of shed. The mayor was coming out of that shed, so Ben and Velma and Shaggy and them kind of like split up. One was gonna search the barn, one was gonna follow the mayor. Shaggy and Scooby followed the mayor, and Velma and Ben kind of like went inside the shed, and Shaggy and Scooby was following in the mayor. Fred and Daphne were like talking alone for a minute, and Daphne asked like, why do they always pair up together sometimes? Then like they see the Hex girls, they were like talking a little suspicious. They were following Thorn to her house, and they came to the conclusion that she was a witch. Anywho, Shaggy and Scooby were following the mayor, and they noticed that the mayor was a busy guy. Like he always keep dropping things up and picking things up. Then they kind of ran to the witch, kind of ran over the mayor, and that's pretty much that. And Velma was like, you know what, we should leave for a second. But really that was a ruse to like make sure like the mayor don't figure out or know anything. And there was like a little setup that they had with the Hex girls kind of involved. They met up at the stage age. Then the witch kind of shows up. They kind of like unmask the witch, and it turns out that was Mr. McKnight, the pharmacist, and it was revealed that that was Thorne's dad, and her real name was actually Sally, and that most of the townspeople, including the mayor, kind of was like using that whole what was it, that Sarah Ravencroft witch thing to like bring in tourists. They all went to like Ben's crib a little bit, like talking a little bit. And the Hex were kind of like explained their whole witch nonsense and like why they suspected him in the first place. Thorne was like I guess she was related to a Wiccan. The mayor and Mr. McKnight kind of showed up, kind of like apologized for a second, and kind of told Ben that the reason why they did the whole thing was because tourist attraction was there was less tourist attraction. They were desperate, and they thought it was a good idea because the Benton told the mayor that supernatural stuff have kind of like bring people there, and knowing that, it was revealed that they lied to Ben because they accidentally found like Sarah's grave marker, but they didn't find no bones or no bodies. And Ben was like, wait, no book either? And Mr. McKnight kind of pointed out that her grave could be literally anywhere, or that book could be anywhere, from that oak tree or anywhere else in town. Then Velma got an idea. So she kind of asked Shaggy to give that shoe buckle that Scooby dig up, and she compared it to the painting, and she was like, wait a minute, it matched up. Scooby, can you show us where it is? Okay, time to wrap this up. Pretty much, they went to the oak tree. Scooby kind of like dig it up, and knowing that what was it? Ben opened up the chest, and the rest of the gangs are starting to notice that doesn't look like no journal, but really that was a spell book. Turns out Ben kind of orchestrated that whole Babylonian mummy scheme so that way they can meet, and he was using the gang this whole time, using everybody this whole time to like try to like free Sarah Ravencroft. He kind of like opened the book, kind of got himself magical powers, and now he's like trying to like take over the world. I guess the game managed to like stop him for a minute, but he got the book back, and he managed to finish the spell, and he managed to bring Sarah Ravencroft back to life. But that kind of backfired, and knowing that they try to like get the book, and knowing that Velma kind of like asked Thorn to like use, I don't know, to read the spell trap her in the spell book, but what was it? But that kind of worked, and what was it? Ben and what was it? Sarah Ravencroft. They were both trapped in the book. A branch fell down, and it was burning, and it kind of burnt, and kind of like like saying, "Hey, they ain't coming back no time soon." And knowing that there was a cool concert note and a cool concert singing scene, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. I gotta admit, Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost was pretty good though. I mean, I've seen every single Scooby Doo movie. Oh, okay, let's be honest. It cannot compare to Zombie Island. Zombie Island was a little more better though. At least, like, it's less serious and less. I mean, compare it to. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. I've been watching Scooby Doo ever since I was a little kid, man. And I gotta admit, it was good though. The animation was good. The storyline was right. Okay, there's an Easter egg that you probably did not notice in Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost. If you go back when Ben was explaining that this whole thing was pretty much a scheme for them to trick Velma and everybody. If you look when he was looking at the newspaper, he did saw Scooby and the gang unmasking the Moat Monster from Scooby Doo and Zombie Island, which means Scooby Doo and Zombie. That means Scooby Doo and Witch's Ghost and Scooby Doo and Zombie Island. This probably took place after the events into that. I'm not really sure, but it was. I gotta admit that was a good little jab and a little Easter egg though. You know that the movie kind of does ask that, kind of like bring up the whole Fred and Daphne relationship, because like if you watch like some of the old school Scooby Doo, they sometimes do split up together. And you know that kind of does like bring their relationship sort of like to the forefront, like kind of like ask that sort of question, like are Fred and Daphne really together, or they just, some people say that they're just screwing around and stuff. I don't know who came up with that theory, but it's just a theory. Okay, I love what the writers and the creators, I guess, and the director kind of like did with the Hex Scrolls. I know that the this ain't their first appearance. They didn't just make an appearance in Witch's Ghost. They also made what was it? What's New Scooby Doo music. Wait, no, I think it was the vampire. There was one movie with the vampire. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated. The Hex Girls did made a multiple appearance like ever since that one came out though. Okay, the fight scene with Ben Ravencroft. Okay, it kind of was giving me anime vibe. I mean, I'm just saying, if you look at it really closely and like study the animation a little bit, it kind of was giving you like more anime vibes though. Guys, I need your help. I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers, so if you guys don't mind, like, share, subscribe, share this with your friends, share with another Scooby Doo fan. I'm trying to make a name for myself, guys. I need y'all's help. I remember watching this on VHS a lot when I was a kid. In case, okay, if you weren't born in the 80s, 90s, or 2000s, y'all really, okay, okay. Pretty much a VHS. Well, VHS stands for Video Home System, or I think. Point is, it's pretty much a DVD. Think of it as like a DVD that's shaped like a box, but it kind of like had some like, I don't know, film in it. I guess I don't understand the mechanics behind that thing, but all I know is it's pretty much a DVD that's in a box form, I guess. But I love Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost. I watch it every year whenever Halloween's around. I mean, well, it's Scooby Doo and Halloween. Okay, guys, time for me to rate this movie. Let's see. Factor in the storyline, the animation, the Easter eggs, the songs. Okay, let's see. I'm a Hex Girl. Okay, that deserves at least a solid 4. And I gotta admit, the song was impressive. Hmm, hmm. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll rate Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost. Let's see. I would give it a solid 7 out of. Wait, hold on. No, it deserves a little better than that. Because it's a childhood classic, and I love it so much. I would give it at least a solid at least 8.5, which is a very, very good rating for a Scooby Doo movie. I mean, it's not better than Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, but it is good though. Alright, guys, party's over. Like, share, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. Guys, my goal is to reach 100 subscribers. So if you guys don't mind, like, share, subscribe, share this to any other Scooby Doo fans that you know. M3 Bullet out.